Hi, my name is Kim Kessler, and I am really excited to introduce Andrew Seeley, who's one of the top Alo Yoga ambassadors, and he's a leading acro yoga expert, and he leads plant-based yoga retreats all over the world. Right now, he's in beautiful Costa Rica, but he's also led retreats in India, Lebanon, Greece, Mexico, and Bali is one of his favorite places to lead retreats. And he is also the founder of the Yoga Revealed podcast and a big plant-based activist. And we're excited for his Dharma talk today. And you can see he's in Costa Rica with so many tropical fruits. Everything looks so delicious. Welcome, Andrew.
Hello, blessings everyone all around the world. Thank you guys so much for joining me here for this wellness conversation, also known as a Dharma talk. In yogic practice, we have these awesome opportunities to come together and to have conversations about things that really bring us the most joy. And one of those things that brings me the most joy is wellness. This opportunity to tap into our bodies, our minds, and our spirits to truly align with our truest intention that comes from the heart. And with that being said, it's so often that we hear the word wellness today, and we think to ourselves, what is wellness? What does it really mean to be well? And I want you to take this time during this conversation to make this an interactive experience. So go ahead and grab your journal, grab a pen, and take a second to write down what your definition of wellness is. And the reason that we're taking this time to write it down is because when we write something down, we're intentionally putting it down on paper to give a better conceptualization as to what it is and how it interacts with us in our life. So, the official definition of wellness is the state of being in good health, especially attributed to a fulfilling or happy lifestyle. So when we think about fulfilling our happy lifestyles, we also got to think about what are we doing on a day-to-day basis that's bringing us fulfillment? What are we doing on a day-to-day basis that's bringing us happiness? Happiness so often today is a fleeting idea, especially nowadays with all the different cataclysmic, incredible things that are happening around the world. There's a lot of depression that's happening around the world. There's a lot of sickness due to the COVID-19 that's happening around the world. So we're just going to take a second to take a deep inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Nice deep inhale, and you're going to bring your left hand to your heart, and then your right hand there over. And as you inhale this time, when you exhale fully, letting go of that air, I want you to inhale and allow a smile to emerge on your face. Being thankful, grateful, and most importantly, aware of the beauty of your beating heart. As you feel that beating heart on your hands, realize that within your hands you hold the possibility of creating a happy lifestyle. And as you bring that smile on your face, I want you to truly feel the warmth that that smile brings to your heart. And as you feel that smile emerge even brighter, I want you to feel the energy that you're bringing to yourself just by smiling, the happiness that exudes through your body. I want you to think about one of the moments that you can remember being happy. Maybe you have to go all the way back to being a child, riding your bike for the first time, or maybe it's the last time that you were on the beach and you witnessed the sunset, or maybe it was just yesterday when your neighbor came by and gave you a gift or a flower. Or maybe it's the simplest things that make you happy. When you're walking down the street and you see a young child smiling with joy, come back to that simplicity of happiness and feel that simplicity of happiness right here, right now. Take a deep breath into the tops of your lungs Exhale, release it, gently open your eyes. And just remind yourself that anytime throughout your day, you can bring yourself back to this state of happiness just with your breath and your imagination. So that brings us on to, when you think of the word holistic, what are some of the main attributes that you feel can be attributed to a holistic approach to wellness? Because there's actually 7 different components that bring in the full wholeness of wellness. So I want you to take your time right now in your journal and write 7 things that attribute to your wholeness, to your holistic idea of wellness. Take a few minutes to write those down. We think about, those different things that bring us into the wholeness of being, into truly allowing all the different counterparts of our body, our mind, and spirit to become whole and together. So maybe those are practices, maybe those are thought processes, maybe those are different things that you do with your body. Maybe a clue there. Awesome. So wellness can be seen as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. So some of those things that bring us to this wholeness are, number 1, our individual wellness that has to do with our functional and physical wellness, our emotional wellness, our intellectual wellness, our social wellness, our environmental wellness, our financial wellness, and our spiritual wellness. So those are the 7 attributes there that bring forth this holistic approach to wellness. And I want to go a little bit deeper into each one of these because they all are very near and dear to my heart. Because when I first started practicing yoga, had no idea what it meant or felt like to be well. And even when I was in college studying microbiology, I didn't really know what it meant to be well. And even when I was doing meditation on a daily basis, I didn't actually understand the full process of incorporating all of these aspects into my life to fully feel and be well. So I want to start with first our emotional wellness, because right now, according to several new studies, the most common health problem in the world is depression. And this is really big. This is really big to think about because the problem is often manifested in the forms of insomnia, lack of sleep, overstress and hypertension, poor nutrition, physical inactivity, obesity, and heart disease. So these are all different aspects that have caused us to step away from our truest expression of self. And if we really think about depression, one of the number 1 things that we can do to combat depression is think about what we're putting in our bodies. Because these fruits and these veggies here, these are all a representation of the beauty that the world and Mother Earth, nature, provides for us on a daily basis. Even just looking at these fruits, you look at these yellow bananas, they may make you happy. You look at this mango, it may make you happy. They're little things that bring forth happiness on a day-to-day basis. And when we eat these nourishing, awesome, molecule, nutritionally dense foods, what it does is it helps to bring that happiness inside so that we can shine it outside. So I want to start right here with a deeper understanding that what we put inside of our body gives us the energy to be able to go out into the world. And so, as we were talking about depression, one of the main ways that we can combat depression is by the foods that we eat. Because the foods that we eat actually determine our blood sugar, and they also determine the chemical compounds that give us oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin in the brain that help produce happiness. So if we want more happiness in our bodies and our minds, then we must start with what we're putting inside. Okay? So that starts with our physicality as well. Our physicality, meaning moving on a daily basis, taking the time to really move into your body, finding what it feels like to flow, to do your practice of yoga, to dive deeper into your practice of breath. How can we move with mindfulness? When I first started on my journey of wellness, I was a 19-year-old college student going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, studying nonstop. I was really stressed out. I was in a fraternity. I was trying to play competitive soccer. I had a lot of things on my plate. And with that many things on your plate, it may be difficult to find the time for yourself. And what we have to realize is that that time for yourself, that time for physical activity, for getting into your body, for not having any distractions, for using your breath is vital. And that's actually when yoga found me. So I first started practicing yoga when I was 19 years old, going to college, having all these different things on my plate. One of the #1 mottos at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for the School of Science was study 25 to 30 hours per week. Imagine that, studying 20 to 35 hours per week. That's a lot of studying. So I was literally overwhelmed with bookwork, overwhelmed with so much on my plate. And I'm sure that a lot of us can really relate to this because we're living in an overwhelming world with overwhelming notifications, overwhelming news articles, overwhelming bills, all types of things, right? So how can we release ourselves from these overwhelming thoughts and come back to our center? That's where our breath comes in. And when our breath is brought together with yoga or movement, that movement could be Pilates, that movement could be tennis, that movement could be golf. Whatever movement you choose to do it mindfully. Take your time to really breathe into what you're doing. For me, that movement wasn't soccer. I played soccer my whole life, and I had really found that soccer was stressful. But when I was able to come back to my breath through yoga, looking at myself in the mirror, taking the time to really look into my eye and see myself looking back at me, and I was literally pushing myself to do my best. All I wanted to do was come back to my mat every single day and do better than I did the day before. And those simple little breaths that I took, those simple, mindful, aware, intentionful breaths did help me to progress on that path. When I first started yoga, I couldn't even touch my toes. I could barely touch my knees. I was so inflexible. And what you have to realize is in any practice of mindful awareness, the more that you do it, the easier it will become. So consistency is key when it comes to moving your body. And finding the breath is key when it comes to moving your body. Because when we breathe in through the nose, we're actually activating nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is one of the keystone molecules. It actually, in 1998, won a Nobel Peace Prize for being one of the most incredible molecules that helps the human body. What does it do? It helps to oxygenate the blood. It helps to bring those wonderful immune-boosting molecules into your bloodstream to help fight off viruses. So when we breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose, those are the ways that we can truly practice a mindful, aware breath. From there, I want to take us into the intellectual aspect of wellness. So we talked about the physical, what we eat, and how we move, and how we breathe. Now let's talk about the intellectual space. So intellect is often thought of as the mind, right? And we got to understand that our mind has all these thoughts going on throughout the day. So many things from, what am I going to cook for dinner, to, oh my goodness, the dog just peed on the rug, to, oh wow, I got to pick up the kids from school. There's so many different things that happen in our mind all at once. And that's just the conscious mind. We have a whole entire another mind called the subconscious mind that is acting completely without our quote-unquote knowing. So the subconscious mind does all the things like, when you have to go pee, you magically go pee. Like, you don't know what happens. I mean, you don't really have to push that much. You don't have to pull that much. You just, bam, pee happens. Breathing. Wow, I just took a breath. Who thought about that breath? Did you think about that breath? Did I think about that? I don't know. Breath happens automatically. Blinking the eyes happens automatically. Even salivation happens automatically. So we think about all these things that happen automatically. Who's controlling them? The subconscious mind. So our intellect, right, this beautiful mind that we have, really allows us to tap into how we can share our wisdom. But at the same time, how we can focus our mind to bring forth an intention that helps to change the vibration of our reality. And one of the most incredible books that I would highly recommend everyone check out is The Biology of Belief. The Biology of Belief is by an incredible doctor by the name of Bruce Lipton, who goes into depth about how our thoughts change the vibration of our reality. And we all know that our thoughts are actually vibration. And what is all around us? Matter. What is all this matter doing? It's vibrating. So that's why it's so important to really think about, these fruits. They're vibrating a certain color that is a frequency, right? My voice is vibrating a certain vibration that allows you to be able to hear it in your eardrum. Even this screen that you're looking at, this crystal screen is vibrating so that you can actually see this picture. I'm here in Costa Rica. Technology, right? It's bringing a wave, a signal from my phone through the Wi-Fi all the way to your home, wherever you are in the world. This is Global Wellness Day. We're all worldwide being connected by vibration. So this intellect is powerful. And what the conscious mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. Think about that one more time. What the conscious mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. So your thoughts matter a lot. So I want you to really think about how you can take your thoughts and use them to propel into creating the reality that you want to see. Because what is before you is all attributed to your imagination, all attributed to your divine manifestation. And it happens right here in between these lovely ears. So I want to read you a quick little line from one of my favorite books, which is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This is a yoga book. And Patanjali is a wonderful yogic man who wrote down all these great aphorisms that he called sutras, which are the threads that bind together the idea of yoga. But also they bind together the idea of how the mind, body, and spirit work together. So this is all about wellness. So he says, when you really understand that, you will see that we are all the same. If you detach yourself completely from the things that you have identified yourself with, I am my car, I am my job, I am my career, then you realize that yourself is a pure I. And the pure I is no different between you and me. So this is true not only with human beings, but also with everything. You call something a dog because it has a dog's body. But the spirit in the dog and the human is made of the same energy. The same is true even with the inanimate objects. There's the same spirit in a stone or a wall or in a fruit or even in a computer. If I use the term spirit or self, you might hesitate and believe me, but if the physicist says the wall is nothing but energy, then you will believe that. So using the scientific language, there is nothing but energy everywhere. Even the atom is a form of energy. The same energy appears in different forms to which we also give different names. So the form of the name are just different versions of the same energy. And according to yogic scientists such as Patanjali, and even many modern scientists, behind the different forms of energy is one unchanging consciousness of spirit or energy. That is why, if we could calm our minds and get to the basis of all these modifications, then we would find the unity among everything. That is the real yogic lifestyle. And that, I believe, is also the real wellness lifestyle. It does not mean that we are indifferent to the changes and we become useless to the world. Instead, with this experience of universal unity, we function better. We will have happy and harmonious lives. Only then can we love our neighbors as our own selves. Otherwise, how is this possible? If I identify myself as my body, or my job, or my car, then I will also see another person as a body, or their clothes, or their car. And the two bodies cannot be one. They are always different. If I identify myself with the mind, then nobody can have the mind exactly like mine. Even twins are individual, right? So even the extent of the half-inch square of my thumb are not the same. So we really must look as one another's as one. That one appears to change due to our mental modifications. So by changing your mind, you change everything. If only we could understand this point, then we could see that there is nothing wrong outside. It's all the mind. By correcting our vision, we correct things outside. If we can cure our jaundiced eyes, nothing will look yellow. But without correcting the jaundice, however, much we scrub the outside things, we are not going to make them white or blue or green. They will always be yellow. That's why yoga is based on self-reformation, self-control, and self-adjustment. When this reformation is accomplished, we will see a new world, harmonious, happy, and beautiful. That's why we should always keep ourselves free from any misidentifications, realizing that all is one. So I wanted to read that just to bring us back to the understanding that our thoughts, they go out into this mass consciousness, right? And so many of us have been feeling these synchronicities where it's like, oh my goodness, like I just had this thought that maybe we should do an online global wellness day. And bam, here we are all around the world coming together for global wellness. And this is the beauty of our existence right here, right now, is that we are in this together. So that brings us to spirituality. And spirituality is the understanding and the realization that there is a divine spark that connects us all. Pretty plain and simple. And when we bring forth the harmonious nature within ourselves, then it allows us to be able to feel the harmonious nature all around us. And now this brings us to our emotional self, right? Our emotional well-being has to do with self-love, loving ourselves, realizing that the only way that I can fill up your cup is if my cup is first full. So we must fill ourselves up, realizing that the happiness within us spreads all throughout. Now from there, it brings us to our environment. Our environment is key. Our environment is nature. Our environment is the trees that breathe the carbon monoxide in and then exhale all the oxygen that we breathe out. So they're literally coexistent with us. They're in harmony with us. So we must be mindful of our environment as it is part of our well-being. And that leads us directly to our social well-being, which are the people around us. They say that you are very much attributed to the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I want you to really think about that. Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with? Like, are you always listening to, the newscaster? Are you always listening to, what your mom is telling you? Are you always listening to, what's going on outside of yourself? Or are the 5 people that you're spending the most time with, God, spirit, nature, your best friend, your dog? Those people are positively or negatively influencing your being. So really be mindful as to the energy that you hold around yourself, because the people that you hold around yourself oftentimes shape and influence your energy. And that brings us to our finances. Our financial energy is a flow. You got to think of money as just another way to understand value. So it comes in and it goes out, it's given and it's received. And I often find that in my life, the more that I give, the more that I receive. Because the universe responds to energy, right? No action goes without an equal and opposite reaction, right? So anything that we put out there will come back. That's just the way that life is. So we also have to understand that finances are not just monetary finances, but also how we think of energy also has to be value. So if I do something positive to the earth, like plant a tree, what may that tree bring? 10 years down the line, that tree may be filled with beautiful apples hanging off of it, ready for you to be able to share these apples with each and every friend that you have. So we really must be mindful of what we're planting on a daily basis. What are those seeds of intentions? Because they grow into the magic that is this dimension. So with that being said, I really want us to take some time. Maybe you have 5 to 10 minutes right now to write in your journal and really think about the things that are attributed to your wellness. And really think about how your wellness can be amplified just by doing a few different tweaks to those awesome things. So I really appreciate you guys for joining me today here at Global Wellness Day. Take a few minutes to write those things down and really take the time to breathe into this space. I'm going to play a little bit of music while we write down in our journals, because we know that when we write something down, it's more likely to become manifest into this reality.
The most common disease throughout the world, the greatest danger facing mankind. Don't think we're talking about a new virus. The name of the most common health problem on Earth is depression, also known as unhappiness. Unhappiness is not a simple problem. It means sleeplessness, stress, poor nutrition, inactivity, obesity, and heart disease. If you think that scientists will solve this problem, then you're wrong, because the solution is in your hands. Millions of people need an inspiring beginning, and the name of that inspiration is Global Wellness Day. Global Wellness Day is a journey of self-discovery where you find that you can change your whole life. Global Wellness Day, which brings together exercise, healthy eating, and spiritual teachings, is a social platform that will raise awareness of well-being. It is a step that can ignite the flame of happiness. Let's change the world together.